A modern masterpiece, fast charging, rugged, and roomy. Bill Bird Kia is the original home for the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKia.PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Get ready.
Let's play the game.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
I just don't think that anybody's going to succeed in that system.
It's a bad organization.
It's just a bad organization.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Onion pickles, onion pickles.
Live and local.
Look, it's impressive.
On ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
And welcome into the CBC Construction Studios. You are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida. I am Brian Haddad, sitting in the host chair, joined by the Bone Crusher himself.
Word.
What's going on, buddy?
All right.
Well, I'm telling you, it's a hot one outside. These are the days that I'm glad we have an indoor radio studio because it is some kind of hot out there. And, just remember now, you can always rely on ESPN Northwest Florida for accurate forecasts and active weather updates. You can turn to Joanna. It's an easy one today. It's hot.
Some like it hot and some sweat when the heat is on.
No doubt indeed. Well, we've got a great show lined up for you today on this Monday. We'd love to have you be a part of it here at the Red 7T's phone line. Give us a call if you'd like to be a part of the show today at 850-215-6290. That is 215-6290. Like every Monday, we're going to have our best and our worst from the sports weekend. Would love to hear your calls on that. Text, Facebook, anything you want to send in. We're going to get into headlines here in a moment. And then at 4:20, we're going to be talking with R.J. Starcevich. We're once again turning right and left as NASCAR had its second consecutive road course race. We'll see if Shane Van Gisbergen made it a back-to-back here and continued the dominance of road course racing. At 4:40, we're going to talk the MLB All-Star Game, and we're kind of going to look at the halfway report card, if you will. We're going to look at the standing statistics of where we are halfway through this Major League Baseball season. At 5 p.m., we're going to bring in our buddy Steve Barnes from the RebelWalk.com. Busy day in SEC football. You say, how is that possible? We're still 40-plus days away. Yeah. Well, it's SEC Media Days, day one today. And we had several coaches take the mic, including Greg Sankey. So a lot to get into there. And the always fun Lane Kiffin was at the mic today. So we're going to hear what Coach Kiffin, Coach Kelly, Coach Beamer, and Commissioner Greg Sankey had to say when we talked to Steve at 5. At 5:20, we have your PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. He's back in town from his many road travels, and we're going to talk about everything going on with collectibles like sports cards and coins and comics and TCGs. I think we've got some big news to talk about. I know they had a very big guest who was in with the group on Saturday.
Name dropping?
With comics, and it was one that I don't know comics very well. I know this guy. So I'm going to let Todd go into that at 5:20, but very exciting stuff. And then 5:40, we're going to do our wrap-up, get into basically everything that we missed in the very full show that we have today. So let's get right to it with some headlines from the sports weekend. Let's just start with tennis. We never start with tennis, so let's cover that. Wimbledon, the granddaddy of them all, if you will, over on the tennis side. You had Jannik Sinner who had barely escaped in the round of 16. He had an injury, and then actually the guy that he was playing, we talked about it last Monday, ended up going down and had to retire with an injury of his own. So Sinner made it through, and he ends up winning Wimbledon. He denies Carlos Alcaraz the opportunity to be one of the first guys in a very, very long time to win 3 consecutive Wimbledons. Sinner wins 4-6, 6-4, 6-4, and 6-4 to earn his first Wimbledon title. It is his 4th Grand Slam crown overall, and he becomes the first Italian to win at Wimbledon. On the ladies' side, of course, all the talk going into the weekend was American Amanda Anisimova, her shocking defeat of number 1 Sabalenka. And I think may have taken a lot out of the bag there getting past number 1, because ran into a buzzsaw with Iga Swiatek in the final, ended up losing 6-0, 6-0. It's the first time since 1911 that a final is finished 6-0, 6-0 at Wimbledon. There was one, I think Steffi Graf won one of the French Opens that way back in the late 80s, but not to take away anything from what Anisimova did. I mean, taking out Sabalenka, world number 1, is huge. I believe she's moved up now to number 7 in the WTA rankings, while Swiatek sits at number 3. So congratulations to the Wimbledon finalists there. When's the last time we started with tennis on the Afternoon Underdogs, you know?
It's been a minute.
I'm telling you. Over to basketball, the Mavs are going to shut down Cooper Flagg for the remainder of the summer. And I understand this move. You would think, well, it needs more reps, needs more of this. These guys play so much basketball coming up with the AAU stuff and the summer ball as they're going through high school and college. Obviously, he had his 1 year of college. He had a couple of summer league games, coming off a great game against the Spurs. I understand the shutting down of things. It is a long season. 82 games plus hopefully the playoffs for the Mavs. So I understand the notion of it. You kind of hate it for the fans, obviously, because a lot of people in the summer league get to see games that they wouldn't normally get to see in the regular season, both games that go on the road and certainly the price, if you will, of tickets. But I think it makes sense from the Mavericks' point of view, and that they're trying, for lack of a better phrase, to protect their investment, and they want to make sure that guys coming out of his lone college season and a deep run into the NCAA tournament, and then wants to make sure that he's rested and ready to go for when the regular season starts. So they got him a few games, got to see some things, probably made plenty of notes of little things they're going to work on before now. But Cooper Flagg will be shut down for the rest of the summer league season and will not be back until the opener. Over to the WNBA side of things, and we finally got our matchup of number 1 draft picks. Caitlin Clark versus Paige Beckers. Now, Beckers this past year's number 1 draft pick, Caitlin Clark obviously the year before. They were set to meet in June, but unfortunately Caitlin Clark was dealing with one of her nagging injuries that she's had this year that's kept her kind of in and out of the lineup. Well, Clark was back, and she, normally she leads the Fever with her shooting, but this time it was more with her assists. She ended up, I believe, with 13 assists on the game, 14 points, but the Fever had an unbelievable 64 points at the half. We're talking about a league where very rarely are we over 100 points. Right. And the Fever ended up winning, I believe it was 102-83 over the Dallas Wings in the battle of first-round picks. So Clark, talking about she's having a bit of a difficult time kind of getting her shot back, coming back in from the injuries, but likes the fact that she's able to contribute in multiple ways, and her distribution was very good. Becker's not to be outdone, led all scorers with 21 points. In fact, she has now the 4th longest streak of any player in WNBA history of double-figure points games to start their career. She's sitting now at 17 consecutive since she has come into the league.
Now,
So
did they match up like on one-on-one at all?
I would say they're slightly different players, but they don't play completely different positions. I mean, they're both on the ball. But, anytime you're, man up like that, I say man up, woman up, I guess, in the WNBA, obviously screens and things you can trade off and whatever. But there were some head-up movements. In fact, there was a pretty good highlight where Beckers kind of stole the ball from Caitlin and got an and one. So, they're both unbelievably talented, slightly different players. Beckers, to me, is a little more well-rounded overall. Clark is significantly more dynamic, and when she gets hot, there's nobody who can shoot better. Really good passing the ball. Becker's a little bigger, a little more physical, a little better defensively, if you ask me. But like I say, they're both extremely talented players, and it was fun to get to see them play each other, even though Caitlin, I don't think, is back to 100%. But the Fever go into winning territory. They're now 11-10 on the season with the demolishing of the Dallas Wings. There we go. We'll stay on the hard court here somewhat. We're going a little bit off court, but Victor Wembanyama has been cleared to return from his blood clot. Now, I think everybody expected that we thought everything was going to be okay, but when you start talking about blood clots, you never really know. So it's always good to hear that. So he's recovered from what is called his deep vein right thrombosis in his right shoulder. It limited him to just 46 games last season. But he's been officially cleared to return, a league source confirmed. So got the green light from Spurs medical staff on Friday. Victor says, phew, I'll finally be able to play a little bit of basketball again. So
how do you get a thrombosis in your shoulder? Did you sleep on it funny?
I'd be honest with you, that's over my pay grade.
Usually like in the legs from long flights.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's probably something to do with it just with his size. I mean, he's 7'4", and I would imagine just in general, in almost every situation, you're in probably an awkward position. The world isn't made for you at 7'4". Basketball's great, but when you're not there, you're constantly crouching through doors, and he's not riding coach, but things are difficult when you're that tall. So maybe that has something to do with it. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Blood flow issues could just be an issue in somebody that
He's
tall.
just too tall.
Yeah, the heart's got to work extra.
Too far to move all that blood.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're pumping it, 2 people away. But Victor is 21 years old. He did lead the NBA last season in block shots despite only playing 46 games. So obviously a huge talent. He was the Rookie of the Year in 23-24. So hopefully Victor will be able obviously he's going to be back, but hopefully he'll be back at 100% when the season starts. But certainly good news to start us off with there. Soccer, we had a lot of that, kind of the little, soft open, if you will, before the World Cup comes to the United States and Canada and Mexico next year. We had the Club World Cup. Now, this is FIFA's kind of new brainchild where they get the top clubs in the world, and most of them are in their off season. Some of the South American teams and the American teams are in their season, but most of the European squads are in their off season. But it is a big, big deal, and it's kind of the international answer to the Champions League, which is a Europe-only thing. And we had a final where we had Chelsea from England taking on Paris Saint-Germain from France. Paris Saint-Germain, who actually won the Champions League this year. But Chelsea said, not so fast, my friend, and took them down 3-0 or 3-0, as they would say in soccer. Right. The game kind of marred a little bit at the end, a little fisticuffs there at the end. There was a late-on red card for PSG, and then Coach Luis Enrique and I believe the goalkeeper Donnarumma for PSG had issues with Pedro, one of the strikers for Chelsea, and there was some shoving and yelling and things going on like that, but settled itself down. They had the trophy presentation, and never one to miss an opportunity to get himself on camera. Our president, Donald Trump, actually, I mean, that's not uncommon for heads of state to be at big finals and things like that, but they were kind of laughing at the big picture where Chelsea lifts the cup and all like that. Trump, more than a lot of them, knows how to position himself to be right in the perfect camera shot there. So it was really neat. I mean, the crowd was very, very loud in support when they saw Trump on the Jumbotron. They did a flyover before the game, and then he ended up in the suite with the FIFA execs and everything. But Trump was able to present the trophy there at the end. Got a big response. So overall, a few little issues with fields and things like that hopefully get cleaned up. But overall, I think the Club World Cup was a pretty positive experience for the United States in hosting, and certainly brought a lot of top-level talent into the United States, and soccer is growing. I mean, MLS is not a top-tier league yet, but it's starting to get better because you're bringing a lot of the good young American players along through it, Mexican players, South American players, but you're also bringing guys who maybe are past their prime, but certainly are huge names like Lionel Messi, like Luis Suarez, guys like that. So draw a lot of eyes to the product when you have ownership groups that involve David Beckham. It's always big for...
Well, how does the pay compare in MLS to those big?
It's not as much. I mean, certainly not as much as the giant European clubs. But I don't know if they have hard caps or if they. I know they do have certain designated players to where it's kind of incentivizes you bringing big names over. So, like the LA Galaxy did it with David Beckham and Zlatan Ibrahimovic in the past. You had Wayne Rooney come over and play for DC United. You had a guy named Kaká from Brazil, played, I believe, in either Atlanta or probably Orlando, I believe is right there. Somebody will know and yell at me for not getting that right. Messi in Miami. This isn't anything new. And the league actually encourages it, so they do have certain designated players that can be on a big salary in order to bring them over. But no, it's not going to be on par salary-wise with the mega clubs, the Real Madrids, the Manchester Uniteds, the Bayern Munichs of the world. But, it was good to see the talent come over and play because the World Cup, everyone will be there. And, as long as their country qualifies. So we are definitely going to see the best of the best. But it was neat seeing them kind of representing their club this time instead of just for their country. So a good soft open, if you will, for everything looking forward to 2026.
Well, let me ask you a soccer question. You were talking about the red cards going up at the end of the last match. So what are the ramifications? If I get a red card on this, does that carry over?
That's actually a really good question. Within the tournament, there is usually at least a one-game forward suspension. Yeah. So the next game, now the fact that there won't be a next game, maybe for the next FIFA-sponsored event, not necessarily country-related.
Go nuts. Yeah, that's why they were all unwinding and unloading and wanting to fight at the end because...
Well, there are fines that can be levied as well. Now, those go to the clubs, and I would imagine the clubs, I don't care how much money you make, you're never happy with paying fines. But I do believe there are some ramifications as it comes to future events, but it wouldn't, carry over to, let's say, an American player got one. It would not carry over to the World Cup, per se. Unless there was a specific disciplinary issue that didn't really have anything to do with a standard red card. I think it would have to do with a future club event sponsored by FIFA, possibly co-sponsored by UEFA or something. So maybe misses, next European Champions League or Europa Cup game. I don't know. But I'll have to look into that. It's actually a good question. I can't say I know the exact answer to.
Gotcha.
And then Major League Baseball is right in the middle of their draft. Not like football with, just a couple of 7 rounds and basketball with 2 rounds. Baseball's got a whole lot of them. And the first round this year was a very, very interesting year. We're going to get into this more later on in the show, but a bit of a surprise at the top. Last couple of years been dominated by college players. This year appeared to be a little bit more high school heavy, and our number one pick, a little bit of a surprise, high school shortstop from Oklahoma. In fact, Oklahoma had 2 high schoolers go in the first 4 picks. So I'm going to save that as a tease for later. We're going to get into that. But right now, we've got to get ready to turn right and left, because coming up next, we're going to be talking to R.J. Starcevich of Motor Stardom to talk about what happened at the NASCAR road race in Sonoma. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get in the game. Call or text us now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. Take ESPN Northwest Florida with you everywhere you go.
Anytime, any place, anywhere.
The sports talk and live play-by-play doesn't have to end when you get out of the car. The ESPN Northwest Florida app streams your favorite sports talk hosts and the biggest games in ultra-high fidelity.
This is of utmost importance in travel.
Take the sports talk monster with you anywhere you go. Available for Android and iPhone.
Use it anywhere or any place.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Monday. A possibility of thunderstorms and mostly sunny the remainder of the day, with a wind at 15 miles per hour coming out of the west and 92. Tonight, look for mostly clear skies with a temperature near 81. Tomorrow, a high around 94 and a mixture of some sun and likely thunderstorms. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose? We can typically replace them while you wait. Hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? In many cases, we can have it back to you the next day. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport, just south of Tractor Supply. The best place in town to take a leak.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio. Hot takes, the latest trades, in-depth interviews.
That is my reaction.
We break it down for you right here.
Very big springboard for the rest of my career.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
That's the problem right there.
4.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Brian Haddad in this afternoon here on a hot and steamy Monday in Bay County. But I tell you what, when you're driving the speeds these NASCAR drivers were going, and make sure that window's down and you won't be worried about the heat and all. But definitely looking forward to this, because we had our second consecutive, I guess last week was basically a street course. We're going to call this one a road course. We're headed out west to Sonoma Raceway to talk about the NASCAR race. And who better to talk to than our good friend R.J. Starcevich from Motor Stardom. R.J., how are we doing on this Monday?
Doing good. It's a little gloomy down here in Tampa. It's probably going to rain in a little bit. Might rain this weekend at Dover. Hopefully not, but a clean weekend in Sonoma. How about you guys?
Doing well. Hot up here. We could probably use a little rain to cool it off here, but now, it's summer in Florida. What am I going to complain for? So
exactly.
Well, let's talk about Sonoma here again. We're going right and left this week. I love this racetrack. I always have. I definitely want to get into talking about the track with you in a little bit, but give us kind of some highlights of the race and what went down out here in Sonoma.
Yeah, whenever you go to Sonoma, it's one of NASCAR's classic road courses, right, that we've been racing on for a while with all the new tracks that we have on the schedule. And it was an absolute, what they call an ass whooping by Shane Van Gisbergen. who came out there, won the pole. He was the man to beat and probably even had a little extra motivation after just barely losing the Xfinity race the day before to teammate Connor Zilic in an unbelievable race. But yeah, SVG, the only guy that ever was going to have something, a little bit something for him was the guy who started in second. That was Chase Briscoe. But even with the speed that Chase Briscoe had, it just wasn't enough for SVG. So we still got to see some good varying strategy throughout the field. Everything from third on back was able to get mixed up, but it was Chase Briscoe man in the runner-up spot all day, and Shane Van Gisbergen being the guy in charge. So just a calm, not too eventful race over there in Sonoma. And now SVG, a guy that, 5 weeks ago was below sub 30th in the point standings, now has 3 wins on the season, 4 wins in his career, and sits third in the playoff standings. So, this was something that we expected was possible, but maybe didn't expect he was going to be this damn good, where a lot of people are saying he could be, if he keeps this up, he keeps saying he wants to race for a long time more still, being in his upper 30s. And he could be one of the best, if not the best, road course driver NASCAR has ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is on just an unbelievable tear with the dominance that he's showing at road and street courses like that. Is there any, and look, his age will play into this, but is there any worry that he could get dragged away to different types of racing that maybe put a little bit more of a priority on kind of that road course racing? Or, that being said, NASCAR's up to, I believe, 7 tracks now. So is there any thought to that with SVG?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that the road courses, like you said, the number, it's been going up, and I don't think it's going to go down anytime soon. I don't think it'll go up. I think it'll sit right there. We'll only be replacing tracks on the schedule, kind of as we talked last week with San Diego probably coming in next year. But I think he's put so much effort into coming in here to NASCAR and learning the ovals. That I don't think he's going to be gone anytime soon. I feel like this is kind of where he finishes at least a good chunk of his full-time career. Maybe he retires from NASCAR way down the road and goes and does a little, sports car racing maybe, goes back, to Australia, does some more V8 supercars to end his career, his racing career. But I think he'll be in NASCAR for a while because he knows racing on these ovals and these speedways, it takes time. And he's learning and has really enjoyed learning it. He said, they asked him, he said, what is your, favorite track on a show last week? And he expected him to say a road course. He said his favorite track's Darlington. Yeah. Because he said how much fun he has on it and how excited he is to, learn it over the years. So I think SVG will be stock car racing for a while. Certainly it will at least get him for I think at the very least, the next 3 to 4 years, as long as he has, a top ride in the series.
Yeah, talk about this run that he's on. Last week we kind of talked about, is it, kind of turning people off, how dominant he is. But I think from the outside looking in, I think some people dismiss this and go, well, he's a specialist in this. Sure, he should be good. But if you look in the past, the guys, we talked last week, the Boris Seds, the Marcus Ambrose, they were good on the road courses, but they didn't dominate. You have guys who were, Formula One winners like Juan Pablo Montoya, who came in with a great team. He wasn't dominating the road courses. He was good. SVG is dominating them. Just how good is this run that he's on?
Yeah, exactly. Like we have had, NASCAR's had road ringers forever, and probably more specifically years ago when we barely had them on the schedule, right? When we had 2 road courses, you'd have those guys that would come and run those 2 road courses in the Cup Series and do very well. But, while they would sometimes be for subpar teams, we'd see guys in A-plus organizations, even in the, when it was called the Nationwide Series back when they were going to Montreal and back when they were going to Mexico as well. Like, you saw those road ringers come in, and you didn't see them dominate like this. But SVG, even in the Xfinity car, but even in the Cup Series car, and what I find so impressive about this is because we've talked about it all the time in this show about how these cars, more than ever before, are so equal. Like, these cars are so equal. It's so hard to separate yourself from the field nowadays. We're having more winners per season than ever. And to have a guy that, yes, on the road courses where the driver is more so in control, it's just exceptional that we have not seen this at all in the past. You know, we never saw somebody come out and dominate Sonoma and Watkins Glen in the same season, 10 years ago. And even back in 2020 when we started adding more road courses, still didn't see it. So for him to be this good in a Trackhouse car, which has been okay this year, right? We can all agree they're not the best team, on the grid. To be doing this in that race car with that team is definitely exceptional, and it will certainly be interesting to see how he does the rest of the year, obviously, but in the next few years of his Cup Series career, because I think he'll be staying right where he's at if he keeps collecting checkered flags every year.
Absolutely. Well, let's get back to the race itself. Give us a driver who maybe performed a little bit better than expectations coming into the weekend.
Yeah, I honestly got to give it to Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch was able to, he started 17th, didn't have an incredible qualifying effort, spun middle of the race, but was able to fight and claw his way back up there into the 10th position. Never been known as a crazy good road racer, and has never been known to really run super well this season at all. So a top 10 for Kyle Busch. It's crazy to say that, these days is a great day for them as he continues to try and chase a playoff spot. So definitely a big shout out for them.
And then on the other side, a driver who maybe came in with high expectations did not have the results to match.
Yeah, I just saw something about him right before hopping on here, and it's A.J. Allmendinger. Yeah. It's been a guy who was the NASCAR road course guy, and it's almost like SPG's the new toy that everybody's, playing with, right, ever since SCG's come up here. And I really think ever since the next-gen race car, Allmendinger just hasn't totally mastered it. At the road courses like he did before. I also think Colleague's not on a super high level right now, so he's trying to make a team better than what they are for sure. But started in the 5th position, was looking like it was going to be his best road course effort of the year, but spun out, getting stuck in somebody else's dirt earlier in the race and could only make it back to 18th. So definitely thought it was going to be a little bit better for him.
Absolutely. And my buddy Joey snuck himself a top 10 this week. Uh-oh. What's going on here? Is he making a late run?
Yeah, he did. Also didn't qualify very well, but finished in the 9th position. You kind of had a 1-2. You kind of had 3 in a row there with what we consider the veterans of our series nowadays. Logano got 9th, Kyle Busch 10th, and Keselowski in there at 11th. All 3 of them did not have great starting positions, but sometimes all you got to do is survive and channel some veteran instinct, and you can get yourself a good finish even when you don't have a fast car. So, Logano has been very good on the road courses. Penske hasn't at all. Yeah. I'm sure he's looking forward to going to the Monster Mile this weekend.
No doubt. Well, one more thought on Sonoma. I always love this track because, it's one thing to watch it on TV. I don't think it gives it justice unless you have, where they say crank it up and you can see the cars go whizzing by. And road courses, they look the way TV portrays it. It doesn't look very fast, but you think about, they're kicking up grass and dirt and they're banging and I can't remember which turn. It might be the last turn where they come off, and it barely looks like they're going to get inside that retaining wall coming back because they run so wide. It's exciting, but the thing that I always appreciated, RJ, about Sonoma was the elevation changes. And I'm wondering, because you talk to these drivers what do the drivers say about that, about the challenge of that? Is it something they enjoy the challenge, or is it something that drives them insane because that adds so much more to the difficulty of moving these big, lugging, NASCAR cars around?
Yeah, I think, the drivers will say it's one of those things where, certain drivers are going to enjoy the challenge. Mm-hmm. You hear about it a lot. Drivers would almost rather be slipping and sliding all over the place than have a car that handles perfect, right? Because you really get to channel your expertise in that situation and separate yourself from the others when things aren't perfect. So, it's one of the really only tracks on the schedule with crazy elevation changes like that, besides, the turn 1 at Circuit of the Americas where it goes up the hill. But Sonoma, it's very dynamic. You're going up, you're going down, you're going up while you're winding in the corners, that first part of the racetrack. And that's what's really challenging, especially when you're restarts, when you're trying to avoid crashes, because you have to rely big time on your spotters, because sometimes they're crashing in front of you above the hill, but if they're above the hill and around the corner, you can't see it. You have no idea where you're going. You have no idea where this wreck is. And, we're not even considering all the sand and the dirt that gets tossed up into the air at this racetrack. So I think the drivers enjoy the challenge. It's been a racetrack that, has certainly been exciting on and off, right? We've seen a lot of great finishes at Sonoma. I think, the Cup Series race was just a butt kicking, but that Xfinity Series race to watch SVG and Connor Zilich absolutely, literally from the drop of the green flag, just go back and forth all the way into the end. It just proves that put good cars and good drivers on the racetrack, and it's a racetrack that's certainly worthy of providing some great racing. So I think drivers always enjoy going to Sonoma. They enjoy going out west. They got a great crowd there as well, and the winner gets to taste some wine. So it's usually a good time for everybody.
Not a bad weekend. All right, so 6 races to go till we hit the Cup playoffs here. Who out there maybe is getting a little bit nervous, maybe about to start pressing here? It's always interesting when the last race before the playoffs is going to be at Daytona, but who's getting nervous here as we start closing in on the playoffs?
Yeah, you're really, I'd say the guys that are nervous are the guys kind of sitting there right above. Tyler Reddick doesn't have, we have 12 winners, right? So we got 4 spots still left to be filled with points. Tyler Reddick is practically in. He's 149 points above the cut line and 13th. We can pencil him into the playoffs unless something insane happens, right, where we get 5 more winners. Right. I don't see that happening. But the guys that will be nervous, that are above the cut, we'll go for nervous and excited, right? Chris Buescher, plus 34, certainly nervous. That can go away in the snap of a finger. They've had a lot of speed, just haven't totally gotten the finishes. Certainly nervous there. Alex Bowman in the 48. He's 32 points above the cut line and 15th. Definitely very nervous there because last year they kind of got a lucky win at Chicago, and that's what got them in. They haven't had that yet this year, so they really do want to get themselves to the playoffs. And then Bubba Wallace, who's been doing pretty good this year in the point standings, but again, just hasn't gotten that win and has honestly tanked the last few weeks to the point where he's only plus 3 over the cut line, so definitely very nervous there. And there's really only 3 other drivers that I can see possibly pointing themselves in, and that would be Ryan Preece, who's 3 points back in the playoffs, has had a very surprisingly consistent season. They're on a roll. He had another great run at Sonoma. Kyle Busch has kind of rallied himself back to being only 37 points back. So certainly not in a safe position. They want that win, but say hypothetically we don't get any more new winners, there's still a chance there for Kyle Busch. And then AJ Allmendinger, they've shown to be consistent. He is 50 points back. I think that is still kind of a must win, and but we will see. You never know. But everyone else back from that certainly in a must-win situation. And when we have the rest of the year, where we still have a road course left, we still have Daytona coming up in the season. Anything is possible. But these guys will be points racing until we continue to stack up some new winners, which I think we at least have a chance at a few more new winners.
Absolutely, NASCAR unique in almost every other. I guess college football, you have, different conferences have different TV deals, but NASCAR unique in that they go through so many different kind of providers. You've got, Fox, and you got Prime Video, and then you've got the TNT stretch, which we're in now. And after Indy, we switch over to kind of the NBC Universal, where we're going to be NBC and USA Network. Talk about that, and do you like that kind of changes around? It kind of, most of the coverage is going to be somewhat similar, but everyone's got their own kind of uniqueness to it. Do you like that we kind of change multiple times, or do you wish a Fox or somebody could have coverage all year?
Yeah, I think, there's positives to both sides of it. I think being able to have a lot of different networks and different brands in today's era of social media and advertisements and commercials, it allows, viewers who may be on, there may be people who watch NBC every night and never touch Fox, or people that watch TNT all the time and never touch, NBC. I think it does allow us to get more advertisement on a lot of different networks, so people know about the sport, and usually one network, will pass it to the other and do their due diligence of advertising the sport. Obviously, you wish, if we could pick the best broadcaster out of all 4 of them and give that for all 36 races of the season, that would certainly be ideal, because, certain networks at the end of the day have definitely done better than others. TNT's kind of, I've heard they've got some new directors going on and things like that. So it's been kind of an interesting stretch of races for them. But I certainly enjoy NBC coming in at the end of the year. I think they've killed it every year as far as their coverage, and just, what I want to see is people raising the importance of our sport. People, the broadcasters of our sport making sure that the sport feels important to not only the main viewers, but casual viewers as well. You want our sport to be presented in the best way possible. So certainly it would be ideal, if we had one broadcaster, 36 races, and they were the best that they can be. But I don't mind switching around. It gives different broadcasters different opportunities as well, people in the industry to, be able to sign on and have more opportunities. So certainly this year's been the first year in a while, or I think really ever, that we've had technically 4 different broadcast partners, 4 to 5 if you count the Xfinity Series on CW. But honestly, I think they've navigated it pretty well, and I think next year will be even better because I think the sport's learned a lot as well, and next year will certainly be even better than this year.
All right, RJ, we got to look ahead here. We're coming clear across country from wine country to Delaware. We're going to the Monster Mile here at Dover, and I remember watching races there. It was a track that it just seemed like a cage match to me. It was just kind of that, short track concrete. Of course, I don't know if it's that anymore, but it just always seemed like, a good place to go beating and banging and racing hard here. So what do we expect going into Dover? Maybe give us, kind of 3 drivers to look at in the Xfinity and then in the Cup race.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you kind of can label it, can and can't label it as short track. Yeah. It is fast as hell. Yeah. Like, those cars rip around there to where it's fun. I feel like a lot of people have hated on Dover over the years. I think it's just one of those really cool, unique racetracks. Obviously, we talk about the surface, but just how fast the cars drive on there. The racing is certainly very unique, and to see the strategy unfold, tire wear, et cetera, but certainly looking forward to this weekend at Dover. I'm looking at drivers that can manage long runs. That's usually what we see at a track like Dover. So I'm looking in the Xfinity Series, Justin Allgaier, to be really strong. I think he will certainly be the guy, if not one of the guys, to beat. Carson Kvapil, he made one of his few starts last year at Dover and almost won. So I'm going to throw him back in there, as he's going to be looking for some redemption at Dover. And then somebody like Sam Mayer, who's still looking for that big break there with Haas Factory team and that organization, still looking for his first win of the year yet. He does have 8 top 5, so they've been incredibly consistent, just looking for that victory. And then over there on the Cup side, we're finally now getting a break from the road courses back to the ovals, so I don't think Shane Penn Gisbergen will be the guy to beat at this racetrack. But it'll be interesting to see what speed they have. But I'm looking at his Trackhouse teammate, Ross Chastain. I think a track like Dover kind of falls into his lap. Trackhouse is getting a lot of purse money lately with these victories, and they're certainly going to be elevating their game. I'm looking for him to be strong. Hendrick usually at least has one car that's very strong at Dover. I'm looking for William Byron to get back up there and be really strong. So I have in my 3. We got 2 Chevys. We'll switch to a Toyota here. I think Denny Hamlin as well. Rough race for him at Sonoma, but Dover's kind of been his wheelhouse in the past, and Toyota's wheelhouse as well, where Martin Truex Jr. has been very fantastic there in the past. Christopher Bell's always been strong, and so is Denny Hamlin. So Denny Hamlin will be that 3rd guy that I certainly will want to watch this weekend at Dover.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I always liked watching the races there at the Monster Mile, and then looking ahead, we've got Indy, we've got Iowa, we've got Watkins Glen, one more road course. We've got the paper, well, I guess, Richmond's the paperclip, right? Do I remember that one right? Martinsville's the paperclip. Richmond, very similar. And then, of course, Daytona before we get to the playoffs. So a whole lot of different tracks, a whole lot of different skill sets. RJ, it's going to be a blast to watch.
Oh, it sure is. I mean, Dover, Indy, 2 classic racetracks. The Brickyard 400 returning last year, I think, was great. Yeah, like you noted, Iowa, a newer racetrack, but dynamic. Watkins Glen, Richmond, and boy, it's going to be great to be over there up in Daytona Beach to watch the playoffs come together and all the chaos that is.
Absolutely.
We have 5 more races to get through first before we get to Daytona.
Absolutely right, and a whole lot of stories, and we appreciate talking with you every single week about it. Again, Motor Stardom, check out RJ's stuff there, and RJ, we look forward to talking with you again next week.
Awesome. Thank you, man. I'll see you next week.
That's the great R.J. Starcevich joining us here on the Afternoon Underdogs, taking us through what has turned out to be a crazy exciting NASCAR season. When we get back, we're going to go over to the Diamond. We're going to talk All-Star Game, the Derbies tonight. We got the game tomorrow night, and we're going to kind of look at where we sit at the halfway point of Major League Baseball's season. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Reach out and smack someone. Call or text now. 850-215-6290. The Red 7T Studio Line. It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Monday. A possibility of thunderstorms and mostly sunny the remainder of the day with a wind at 15 miles per hour coming out of the west and 92. Tonight, look for mostly clear skies with a temperature near 81. Tomorrow, a high around 94 and a mixture of some sun and likely thunderstorms. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads, using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com.
At Brock Lawn and Pest Control, we're proud to be awarded the distinction of being Quality Pro certified.
Our technicians have passed rigorous training in eco-friendly application and prevention of pest treatments.
Part of the program is the practice of integrated pest management.
IPM's goal is to prevent pests from ever entering your home. It includes inspection, prevention, education, and, when necessary, application.
We're proud to be Quality Pro certified.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, the standard and level of trust.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. The next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Make it so. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Let it play. A little headbanging here on a Monday. Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida. Again, want to thank R.J. Starcevich. It's always great talking about him with NASCAR. And I tell you what, if you want to talk about golf, there is nobody better than Alan Watson. And ESPN Northwest Florida presents the Watson Report. That's going to be every Thursday at 4:20 right here on the Afternoon Underdogs. The Watson Report exclusively on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida with a little golf clap there. I like it. Well, let's go over to the Diamond here and talk about Major League All-Star Game. And again, you know, I always throw out the moniker where we are at the halfway stretch. We're a little beyond halfway. So those of you people who like to nitpick, yes, I know we're more than 81 games into the season, but, you know, it's traditionally kind of considered the halfway point. But let's talk about the field here for tonight's Major League Baseball Home Run Derby. Of course, this happening up at Truist Park up in Atlanta. We are your home for the Atlanta Braves. Just tonight, we've just got All-Star festivities going on. I think the guy that everybody's talking about now is Cal Raleigh. Florida State product, go Noles, and has the greatest nickname in sports, Bone Crusher, the Big Dumper. Doesn't get any better than
Classic.
that. Yeah. But Cal Raleigh, of course, leading Major League Baseball, 38 home runs at the All-Star break. Everybody's going to be looking forward to what he's able to put up tonight, but not to be outdone. He's got a good field to contend with here. James Wood, one of the superstars, young superstars in Major League Baseball from the Nats. The Tampa Bay Rays youngster Junior Caminero. Byron Buxton from the Minnesota Twins. Brent Rooker from the Athletics of Nowhere. Matt Olson going to be repping the hometown Bravos here in the Home Run Derby. Jazz Chisholm for the Yankees and O'Neal Cruz for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So really good kind of group here. Obviously, Cal Raleigh is the superstar. It'd been nice if, Judge or Ohtani was in there, get multiple guys with 30-plus home runs. But certainly everybody's going to be watching to see what Cal Raleigh puts up tonight. Now, looking ahead to tomorrow night's actual game, we have the starting lineups and batting order revealed. So let's look at the American League first. Leading off for the American League is going to be second baseman Gleyber Torres, Gleyber Day, as it is. Tigers left fielder Riley Green going to be batting second there, so nice little teammate start there. Aaron Judge going to be batting in the 3 spot for the Yankees. Of course, leading the league in average, I believe second in RBIs and in home runs. Second in home runs to our cleanup hitter, catcher Cal Raleigh from the Mariners. Batting fifth for the American League will be Vladdy Jr. Ryan O'Hearn will be the DH for the American League, coming in at the 6th spot. Junior Caminero will be the third baseman, and he will be batting 7th. Javi Baez out in center field will be batting 8th. And then rounding out the American League's lineup will be Jacob Wilson at short. Tariq Skubal will be the American League starting pitcher. So very Tigers heavy, which you would expect when they lead the league with the best record. Now over on the National League side, interesting development here. Your leadoff hitter will be the DH, Shohei Ohtani. Going to be leading off for the National Leaguers. Batting second, much to the delight of Braves fans, Ronald Acuna Jr. in left field. Second baseman, Ketel Marte, be batting third. A little head scratcher there. I mean, great player. Third seems odd, but, so does Ohtani leading off. Freddie Freeman returning to Truist Park. He's going to be batting fourth, even though he's with those dastardly Dodgers. Manny Machado batting fifth at third. Catcher Will Smith will be batting sixth. Right fielder will be Kyle Tucker, batting in the 7th spot. Shortstop Frankie Lindor will be batting 8th. And then youngster Pete Crow Armstrong will be in center field and batting 9th for the National League. And taking the hill for the NL to start will be superstar pitcher Paul Skeens of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So pretty cool, pretty good lineups. A little surprising order, I think, on the National League side. But, why not try things out? It's an exhibition game after all. So we'll try some things out. But certainly great lineups. Obviously, we'll see a lot of subs come in. We'll use a lot of pitchers. But just hopefully we have a good, entertaining game. Let's look at where we are in Major League Baseball as we come to the break. And let's look at the standings. We'll go to the AL East first. Leading the AL East up 2 games at 55-41 are the Toronto Blue Jays, even though they've lost 2 consecutive games heading into the break. Also losing their last 2, second place New York Yankees. The hottest team in baseball sits third in the AL East. That's the Boston Red Sox. I hate saying that as a Yankees fan, but the Red Sox have won 10 in a row, and they now sit at 53-45, just 3 games back of the Blue Jays. The Tampa Bay Rays are in 4th, 5.5 back, and the Orioles just continue their miserable season after such lofty expectations. 11.5 games back in the basement, the AL East. The Central features the team of the season so far, the Detroit Tigers, at 59-38. They're 11.5 games up on second place Twins. The Kansas City Royals sitting at 12 back, tied with the Cleveland Guardians. And then in the basement in the Central, last year's basement dwellers in all of baseball, the Chicago White Sox at 32-65. They are already 27 games back at the break. AL West, the Astros lead the league by 5 at 56-40 over the Seattle Mariners. Texas Rangers are sitting at 8.5 back. The Los Angeles Angels are 9 back in fourth, and the Athletics of Nowhere, despite winning their last 2 games heading into the break, sit in the basement in the AL West, 16 games adrift of the Astros. Over to the National League, we've got Caveman's Phillies on top by a half a game over the Mets. Very competitive division here at the top. Phillies at 55-41, Mets at 55-42. The Miami Marlins sit third, 10.5 back. The Braves clinging on to fourth there at 12.5 back, just 3-7 in their last 10 games for the Bravos. And the Nats, owners of the first pick, we'll get into that later, 38-58. They are 17 games back in the NL East. In the Central, Cubbies and Brewers duking it out at the top. Cubs going to the break 1 game up on the Brew Crew. Cubbies sit at 57-39, winning 2 straight. The Brewers have won 7 straight to be 1 game back. The Cardinals at 6.5 back sit third. The Redlegs sit 7.5 games back in fourth. All 4 of those teams over 500. And then the Pirates are 18.5 games back in the basement in the Central. Over in the West, what should be considered the best division in all of baseball, the Dodgers are on top at 58-39. They are 5.5 games ahead of the Padres. The San Francisco Giants are at 6 games back, 52-45. The Diamondbacks, 11 back. And those lowly Colorado Rockies sit at 22-74 at the All-Star game break. 35.5 games out of first place at the break.
Is that a record? That might be.
It might be, but it's certainly not the record you would like. I mean, the White Sox just came off the most futile season in history, and the Rockies are 10 games behind the White Sox.
Now, the worst team in MLB doesn't get like the first pick in the draft like the NBA or something? Or are they taking a dive?
It's not that exact, but no, it's not a tank situation. But
okay.
But anyway, statistics, just real briefly, we'll go into this here while we got a couple of minutes. Aaron Judge leads Major League Baseball at 355. Well, I just had a pop-up come up. Jacob Wilson sitting second at 332. Jonathan Aranda in third at 324. As we mentioned, Cal Raleigh leads Major League Baseball with 38 home runs. Judge in second at 35. Ohtani sits third at 32. Eugenio Suarez for the Diamondbacks at 31. And Kyle Schwarber at 30. RBIs, Cal Raleigh, 1 RBI ahead of Aaron Judge, 82-81. Suarez and Riley Green at 78, and Pete Alonso at 77. Looking at the pitchers, Max Fried and Freddie Peralta, both tied on 11 wins on the season. We have Garrett Crochet and Framber Valdez and Tariq Skubal all sitting tied for third, as you will, with 10 wins on the season. ERA leaders, Paul Skeens at 2.01, Garrett Crochet at 2.23, tied with Tariq Skubal, Jacob deGrom at 2.32, and Matthew Boyd at 2.34. I was hoping I had my saves leaders there, but I don't see them. So that's what it looks like at the All-Star break. Again, it's going to be an interesting battle. I mean, it's way too early.
in their conference anymore. But that's going to put 3 teams in Louisiana in the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
And it's also from Ruston, it's not that far to Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Right.
It's not that far from Jonesboro, Arkansas. Yeah. And what happened to the Sun Belt a few years ago, they started adding everybody to the east, not the west. So you had Marshall, you had James Madison, you had Old Dominion, you had Georgia Southern. Everybody it was just heavy to the east. Now it's sort of balanced back out. And the Sun Belt and the SEC might be the only 2 conferences that are geographically balanced.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about it the way we are right now, but we'll have to save that one for next week. Steve, always enjoy talking with you here and love your insights. Make sure, guys, go out to therebelwalk.com. Check out the article on Sankey, and Steve's got one coming on Lane Kiffin. They're going to be great reads. Make sure you check those out. And, Steve, we hope to talk to you next week.
You shall.
All right, buddy. That is the great Steve Barnes from therebelwalk.com giving us insights into everything SEC, best, worst, cool, and weird. And we'll talk to him again next Monday. But coming up next, we have the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd and Dr. Sharon.
Come on vacation.
Summer vacation. Hey, how's your vacation going?
Leave on probation.
Sheriff's deputies in Panama City Beach arresting 161 people during an out-of-control spring break weekend.
Welcome to the Emerald Coast. Have a great time at the beautiful beaches, but not like end up in the back of a police cruiser great. A friendly reminder from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, mostly clear and a low of 80 with wind 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the north-northwest. Mostly sunshine tomorrow morning, a light breeze and hot near 92. Likely thunderstorms and very light showers and 93 in the afternoon and evening. 86 indefinite thunderstorms and moderate rain with a light breeze Wednesday. This is your Monday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Call in with your questions, hot takes, and rants at 850-215-6290.
I'm sure that most of you have used a dial telephone before.
The Sports Talk Monster.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. PCB Hobby Takeover time. And Todd didn't just bring himself in here, but he brought his significantly better half. Sorry, Todd.
That's cool. Dr. Sharon Simpson.
That is
here we
right.
go.
Welcome in.
Happy Monday, everybody. What's going on? How we doing?
Quite a week at PCB Hobby.
It's been crazy. Crazy. So let's start last Monday. Last Monday, we had Bill here. Because I wasn't here. Where was I? I was down in Orlando, Florida at the Fun Show. Mm-hmm. The Fun Show is the Florida United Numismatist coin show. So we were there buying up everything under the sun. Devin, myself, Sharon and Maddie. We all ended up there meeting with all kinds of coin dealers and things like that, and we had a good time. Bought a lot of inventory, a lot of fresh inventory. Again, you guys know we sell live on eBay Live under PCB Hobby. We're always running auctions. We're always live. Monday through Friday at least, sometimes Saturday, sometimes Sunday. And we're doing coin auctions currently right this second, in fact. So if you haven't checked out eBay Live, do so at PCB Hobby. And we have a lot of the new inventory there. So if you're wanting any new inventory, see some new inventory, stuff like that, just pop on there and ask for what you're looking for. Also, we'll have more new stuff in the shop as well. So we brought some stuff back for the shop as well. So, of course, they have a fairly large inventory, too. Also, if you haven't been watching, silver and gold have gone through the roof. It's been crazy. Silver almost hit 39 this morning before it opened. So that was amazing and neat. We did make it back, though, on Wednesday because Thursday was a monumental day and weekend for PCB Hobby. We had none other than a high celebrity guest at PCB Hobby, Frank Miller, the creator of Sin City and 300, the movies. And
if you guys haven't seen it, either one of those, make sure and watch them.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
And the creator of many, many comics, Batman, Daredevil, and the such, just tons of stuff.
I believe he was the art that created Elektra, the character.
He did,
I think,
and the death of
Daredevil,
and the death of.
Wow.
And so he was actually here with his crew. His CEO, Frank Miller Inc., and was here as well, who actually produced 300. Her name is Selene, and a couple other people, and they were all here all weekend, Thursday through Sunday. We just took them into the airport yesterday and sent them on their way, but they got here Thursday. We ended up doing a in-house signing, which was really cool. Signed a bunch of comic books and books. He even did a record cover for the weekend, just several different really neat things, hardbound books, and again, comics themselves. We actually got to take him by the retail location, believe it or not. He got to go in, look at our comic book wall, and talk to a few folks. And then
coins. He was interested in that too.
He was interested in the coins. We got to talk to him about some coins. And so that was a lot of fun. And again, on Friday, he did the signing. And then on Saturday, we went and took him to beautiful 30A and showed him around. And then also did a live stream. And if you didn't catch it, you got to go see the replay. It's amazing. For 2 hours, Frank Miller was on live stream with PCB Hobby on our comic stream. And it was one of the most amazing things that he had ever done, and one of the most amazing things for PCB Hobby. So it was off the chart. The weekend couldn't have been more fantastic, more fun. And again, you guys know we sell fun, number one, and our mantra is that we are fun, and we love to be fun and have fun, and that's what it was. It was just a full time. Big Kern, who you guys have heard on here before, got to stream with him, and that was fantastic. One of his dreams. So that was really cool. And of course, we got to go to dinner and chit chat and talk about just normal stuff. And Frank is a really witty guy. He's funny.
He was very funny.
He was very funny. He said some pretty good ones over the weekend. So anyways, we had a wonderful time. I know we didn't post a lot on social media. It wasn't one of those things that was well known by anybody, and stayed that way. But I feel that it's right to at least tell everybody what was going on this weekend, and let everybody know that what we were up to and what we were doing.
Yeah, we had film royalty.
Yeah, film royalty.
It's why you need to be checking out all the time, because I think what the first mention of it was late Friday night.
Late Friday night, right.
And I remember watching, Kern, and of course, I know Big Kern, and he's great, but he was like a kid in a candy store.
He was nervous.
This was
nervous.
Was a lot of fun to watch. But what always amazes me, not to talk about back in the old days or something, but you would need to promote something and all like this. Obviously couldn't with this one, but how quickly
220
word
people.
spread.
220 people were in the room immediately when we went live.
And then I saw thousands upon thousands.
We held over 100 people in the room the whole time. Which was amazing. Of course, the chat was wonderful. Everybody was, asking questions. They were saying how wonderful it was to see Frank be able to stream and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty cool. It was a really good time, and really good time had by all. And the staff at PCB Hobby all helped and all pitched in, helped clean, helped, keep everything organized. And on top of it, got to see Frank, see him in action, and kind of see what we were about with our comic side of things. So that was...
And, of course, Tim doing the auctioneer. That was hilarious.
I made a mistake. Frank said something in the car when we were at 38. He's like, I want you guys to auction like in an auction voice. And I laughed and I said, Tim's the only one that actually knows how to do that.
Yeah.
So, of course, I mentioned, he's like, well, can he do that? Will he do that? And I said, well, if he's there, maybe. So, of course, I walk in right when we get there at 3 on Saturday, and Tim's standing right there. And I said, Tim, I kind of said that you'd do the auction voice. So the last lot of the night, to about 2 hours and 10 minutes in, last lot we did with Frank, Tim did the auctioneer voice for him.
It was hilarious.
He got such a kick out of that. So that was cool. So he got to hear the auctioneering voice, and Tim did a great job, and so that was really cool. We got a bunch of pictures and stuff like that. So you probably will see some stuff posted maybe later this week about the Frank Miller experience that was had at PCB Hobby. So anyways, we're pretty excited about that. And further news, we had several things go on this weekend other than just that. We also had Super Saturday.
I was going to say, when does Super Saturday not lead?
Right.
Well, when Frank Miller's in town.
Right, exactly. So we had Super Saturday this week. Apparently it went really well.
Oh, very well.
Brian, I believe, was there. And he said that there was a ton of people and they were busy, which was awesome. I mean, that's super great. And, of course, we have a ton of new inventory in. We have many new products that have come out or that are coming out. Brian's going to tell us a little bit about what sports products are coming up here in a minute. But for the most part, we are getting collections like crazy.
Yeah.
In fact, Ethan and I will be traveling this week to go pick up a huge Pokemon collection.
Okay.
So, yeah, and it's actually in North Carolina, so it's a ways. So we're going to be driving up there and driving back and loading up the trailer. And I did get a Hot Wheels collection, and I ended up flipping that. And they came Sunday and picked that up. So we have a lot going on. We got more new toys. We got, again, more coins. We're getting always new Pokemon, new sports cards. It's amazing what's coming through the door at this point. So, but without further ado, let's hear.
Yeah, well,
Brian.
This is news for you. I haven't even told you this. Yesterday, I was able to pick up a Shohei Ohtani autograph on card, and one of the few that features him in a Dodgers uniform.
No way.
So we do have that in the shop right now, unless they've sold it in the last hour, which is entirely possible this week. But yes, Todd nailed it. We've had so many collections come in and kind of covering the gamut. Some vintage, some that young people call vintage, but isn't, the 80s and 90s. That's not vintage yet.
That's my
Thank you
era.
very much. But a lot of cool stuff from then. I mean, a lot of the short print inserts, and picked up some 89 Upper Deck Griffey, just different stuff there. And then a ton of new modern stuff, the big case hits. And
do you still remember that day that you and I were there? This was when at the old shop when it was small. That black refractor Ohtani came in. Do you remember that?
Yes, a little bit.
And we
the
sent
one
it
that
off and got a PSA 10 on it.
Yes.
You
No,
remember
it
that?
was the auto.
It was the auto,
Cosmic.
right.
Yeah,
Cosmic.
dude.
That's it. Yeah.
See, the one for me that was more exciting, just because me personally, and I ended up getting this one, was when I found the raw Ichiro rookie refractor.
Oh, yes.
That is really hard to find in good shape, and I think it got an 8.5, which was pretty good. But I mean, it's no 9 like the Brady got, but whatever.
Exactly.
We'll deal with what we deal with.
We've gotten some amazing hits in.
Absolutely. And then on the wax side, it's kind of the calm before the storm this week, and it's going to make sense why. There really aren't many releases this week, because next week there are 3 massive ones. Noir Basketball, which is one of Panini's high-end basketball products. Luminance Football, which will be the second 2025 product. It's so weird to think we're actually getting stuff right around the beginning of the season, because for so many years we didn't.
Right.
So that'll be great and new. But the centerpiece, next Wednesday, folks, we talk about 2 products every year that you and I get giddy for. Bowman
Topps Chrome.
And Topps Chrome. Topps Chrome hits next Wednesday. We're going to have every format. I think Megas follow about 2 weeks later.
Which is what's so cool about that is, again, it's in the middle of baseball season. So
Yes.
thank God we finally have products that are dropping not in October or
That's
November
right.
and December. They're actually dropping during the baseball season, which helps with the hype.
So you've got the autographs by Chases, you've got the refractors, you've got the key rookies, but what makes Topps Chrome even that much more special, and they're doing it for a third consecutive year, the MVP buyback program. Actually, I take that back. This will be the fourth year they've done it. The MVP buyback program. So you can be speculating on, is it going to be Cal Raleigh? Is it going to be Aaron Judge again? Is it going to be Shohei again?
So in other words, buy a ton of it and sit. Wait till you find out who the MVPs are, and then you can do the buyback stuff.
That's right, because the buybacks, we've talked about it, whether it was WWE or whether it was baseball in the past, or UFC is doing one now. New UFC Topps Chrome is out. They're going to announce a match, and the winner is going to be a buyback for it.
Nice.
And what that means is typically, a base card, let's say Judge wins it again. A base card's probably $1, $2 for Aaron Judge base card. But in the buyback program, it's worth $20 in store credit.
That's right.
That is a huge thing.
And it has been very successful in the store. We have had thousands and thousands of dollars come through the store on buybacks and stuff like that.
Yeah, and what is fun is they take those cards, and we've talked about it, they serial stamp them and they put them out.
Repackage.
So the ones from last year will be in this year's product as chase cards, and
That's
it's really
amazing.
neat how they do that. So obviously very much looking forward to Topps Chrome. But again, new football coming, new basketball coming. We have UFC Chrome just came out. Wrestling products are coming. Topps did take over that license. They just took over the English Premier League license, so they're going to have stuff coming in soccer. We just picked up Bundesliga soccer and Topps Finest, so there's a lot going on there.
That's amazing.
It is unreal,
I'll
the
tell
amount
you,
of stuff that's out.
We have so many things going on and so much new product coming in and all that kind of stuff. But what we don't want to forget is what's next week. And we're going to have Dr. Sharon Simpson tell us, where are we going next week?
We are going to San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, there we go.
It is
the Big Mac Daddy.
This is it. It would be considered the Super Bowl, correct? And what are we going to be doing there?
We're going to be streaming. Really exciting. eBay is going to have us. They're going to have an Airstream, which is hilarious. It'll be live streaming
that makes
from
sense.
the Airstream.
Yeah,
right?
that's
It's a great
perfect.
promotion.
Yeah,
great
absolutely.
promotion. And we'll have a booth this year, which is really exciting. And we're going to be selling our buns off.
That's
and,
right. Our artist Sajjad Shah will be there.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
And I think John Jang.
Yep,
right?
John Jang will be streaming with us on Friday night. We have several people that are going to be around us doing stuff with us and several streams going on.
And we got invited to the documentary of Frank Miller. So Selene, who was there with, she's his CEO, she did a documentary about him. And so we get to go to the screening of that. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Too.
It'll be the first showing of the documentary at SDCC. So it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, I know that's always a big event. Huge news
event,
breaks there. I mean,
She's
the
gonna
comic
come
world,
out.
movie world.
She's going to come out and she's going to present the start and the showing, and then Frank will show up towards the end, apparently.
Wow.
Because he's doing a signing during that time. But he'll show up, and so we're all going to be there. We said we'd come and support it.
Well, I love the Airstream idea, but tell them next year that they want to tie in, do it from a Gulfstream jet.
You're right.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about.
Love that, Brian.
That's how we take it to the next level.
Love it.
Love
that
that.
PCB hobby. All right, Todd, I'd be remiss if I didn't get into what you led with, or what we were talking about early, was the price of gold and silver. Silver, especially in the last week.
It's been amazing.
Is there... I know it's hard to pinpoint everything. Is there one thing you can kind of attribute that to? Because
speaking of
silver
Tim,
was lagging a little.
Yeah, so speaking of Tim put on the chat when it hit 38 the other morning. He's like, oh my God, did they just announce that robots are going to be made of silver? And so news like that would do that.
Yeah.
I think it's just catching up.
Right.
I think ultimately, we see gold still around that 33.40, 33.50, 33.60, just back and forth. It's really in that range and has stayed in that range and went up a good bit, but silver never really popped up as high as it really should be. Silver should really be around the $50 to $60 range. That would be the right ratio per se. And so right now, it being at almost 39, it's inching. I think the ceiling right now is 40 for it. It's going to be hard to break 40, but something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen, and it's going to break 40. And once it does, I think it's going to run to 50.
And it seems like it took forever to break 30.
It took forever. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It'll take forever to break 40, but once it does, it's over.
Yeah.
Then it'll probably run to 50 pretty quickly, would be my guess. Again, you can't really pinpoint one thing.
Okay.
There's just a multitude of things. There's the tariffs, and there's other countries building up their supplies of it. There's still electronics that are using it. Unfortunately, there's paper contracts, but if too many people want to call their paper and try to get their physical, it's going to create a lot. So I think.
And sentiment too. You
sentiment,
can't.
Right? Just straight up sentiment. That's
right.
it, right? And a lot of people are selling right now because I think there's a lot of people out there hurting for money.
Well, and I'll tell you too. Look, obviously the silver content, the gold content is the backbone of it, but it's not just as simple as just, I just want an ounce of silver. They make some really cool coins, and there's tie-ins with Shohei Ohtani and things. And Sharon, I know they had some cool stuff.
Our beautiful silver pieces that just came in.
Yeah. So what a lot of people don't know
New Zealand, right?
is our New Zealand Mint order came in, and we got comic book size 1 ounce silver pieces that are the size of a comic book.
Wow.
And it's an inside page, front and back, of Fantastic Four #1.
Colorized.
Colorized on one side, silverized on the other side.
So
in
cool.
a beautiful package, sealed.
Yeah.
We are the only official resellers of this.
Wow.
We got 250 of them. We're the only official reseller at San Diego Comic-Con. So they will be at the booth at San Diego Comic-Con for you to see, look, touch, and then, of course, purchase. I believe they're $3.99. Don't quote me. It might be $2.99, but it's roughly in the $300 range.
And aren't we going to run some
and we are going to run some on our eBay Live on Saturday from 12 to, not this Saturday, it'd be next Saturday at San Diego Comic-Con, from 12 to 2. We're doing a 2-hour stream, and believe it or not, Marvel with their film production team will be there.
Oh,
so this is going to be interesting. This is going to be real interesting.
We just went way up.
We just went way up.
I'm telling you, leveling up as it is. Well, and sports fans, we do have in the shop, we do have some Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts silver pieces as well.
Nice.
That are collectible beyond just the silver. They're numbered. There's
and
chases.
We sold out. You're right, and there's chases. We sold out in a day on the ones that we got in on the coin stream. And then we also got a DC blind box, which there was gold chases in it and gold enameled chases in them. And we sold 100 boxes out in 24 hours.
Crazy.
100 boxes. So this stuff is getting crazy. And we have more big news for New York Comic-Con, and we're going to have a special one released during that time as well. So it's a lot. There's a lot.
I was
going
to say, it never slows down at PCB Hobby this week. We've got the Lorcana events on Thursday, Magic on Friday. Right. Again, Pokemon on Sunday afternoon. Yeah. Saturday's always busy in the shop. A lot going on there, a lot going on. eBay Live. Sharon, I mean, you have to be on eBay Live just to see who we're going to have show up, right?
Right.
It is something else.
Hot.
That's right. Coins, comics, TCG Sports. It's all there. eBay Live. Click on that and just look for PCB Hobby. You're bound to find some fun any hour of the day. It's
pretty much.
So check it out if you can't get in the shop. Of course, if you want to come by the shop, 11939 Panama City Beach Parkway, right next to
Florida Linens. And remember, our phone number is always 320-8388. I always mess that one up. 320-8388.
I love it. Well, obviously a huge week for PCB Hobby and only building on that going forward. Guys, enjoy San Diego.
Thank you so much.
We will talk to you again soon.
All right, sounds
Thanks,
good.
Brian.
That is the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd and Sharon today, and Frank Miller. We'll just throw Frank in there.
That's it.
Really cool stuff going on. We come back, going to bounce around, talk about some best and worst. Also going to get into who the scouts and the other execs think are the best 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. Will you agree? Let's find out next. ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Red 7T's studio line is now open. 850-215-6290.
Your attention, please.
ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike 3.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, mostly clear and a low of 80 with wind 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the north-northwest. Mostly sunshine tomorrow morning, a light breeze and hot near 92. Likely thunderstorms and very light showers and 93 in the afternoon and evening. 86 indefinite thunderstorms and moderate rain with a light breeze Wednesday. This is your Monday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Looking for an unbeatable deal on a pre-owned ride? Head straight to Tommy Autos, 2209 West 15th Street. An amazing selection of quality used vehicles under $14,995. Our friendly sales team is geared up to help you discover the perfect match for your needs and your wallet. Plus, we guarantee a hassle-free experience. Buy here, pay here. Financing options are available, and everyone is approved. You'll find incredible value and service that shines. You gotta come to Tommy Autos, 2209 West 15th Street.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
It's dangerous.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And one segment to go. Last chance to give us a call here on the Red 7T's phone line if you'd like to be a part of the program. 215-6290. And you can tell me what an idiot I am for whatever I'm about to say next. But let's get into the baseball draft here really briefly. Obviously loaded up, with tons and tons of news. But what was interesting this year, a little more high school heavy than it's been in past years. And we always find quirks in the Major League Baseball draft. Well, here was one this year, Bone Crusher. We had to get all the way to pick number 17 before we had our first position outside of pitcher, shortstop, or third baseman. We had a ton of shortstops go in the first 10 picks, a ton of pitchers go, and a couple of third basemen. So clearly, if you're wanting your kid to get drafted high, you got to put them, on the left side of the infield. No, I'm kidding.
Is that pretty normal in the draft?
I do think a lot of, when you're dealing with prep players, a lot of strong players play shortstop. It's kind of a it's always been kind of a transitional position where typically, your better athletes are there. They're involved in turning the double plays and, like that. So you do see in youth baseball, but I think it's a little surprising when you get all the way to the draft, but it's just the way it played out this year. Pitching certainly makes sense, but just the fact that there wasn't a single outfielder in the top 16 or catcher, you had to get all the way to pick 17 to do that. The Washington Nationals owned the first pick for what seems like the 80th time in the last 85 years, but they surprised everyone. There was no clear number one this year, but nobody had Eli Willits going first. He's a shortstop from Fort Cobb-Broxton High School in Oklahoma. Now, they had him going in the top 5 or 6, but there were very few projections that had Eli Willits at the top pick. Second pick was Tyler Bremner, a right-handed pitcher from UC Santa Barbara. He's going to the Los Angeles Angels. Most draft projections had Cade Anderson, LSU's left-handed pitcher, going first. The Mariners got a steal because he drops to them at number 3 and is exactly what they need. They don't think Anderson's going to be around the minors too terribly long, so really good pickup at 3 for the Mariners. The Rockies took Ethan Holiday. If that name sounds familiar, it should. His father, Matt, and his brother Jackson is currently in the league. Matt played in the league for a long time. By the way, Eli Willett's father, also a major leaguer. So, there is something genetic to it. But Holiday, a third baseman from Stillwater, Oklahoma. So 2 high schoolers from Oklahoma go in the top 4. Liam Doyle, left-handed pitcher from Tennessee, rounded out the top 5. He's going to the Cardinals. And then when we get down to pick 11, got a little bit of local. Jamie Arnold, left-hand pitcher for FSU, goes to the Athletics. Certainly can always use pitching out there. He was a lot of people's number 1 prospect. They didn't think the fit was perfect in the draft because sometimes that works, and he did get hit a little bit this year, a little bit more, but I think a steal picked up by the A's in getting Jamie Arnold out of FSU at number 11. All told, I believe we had 5 shortstops and 5 pitchers, 5 shortstops, 4 pitchers, and a third baseman, I believe, in the top 10, and a lot of high schoolers. We had a kid from Alabama, Steele Hall, shortstop. From Hewitt Trustful up near Birmingham, went to the Reds at number 9. JoJo Parker from Purvis, Mississippi, shortstop, went to the Blue Jays at number 8. So a very eventful Major League Baseball draft. Let's go over to the NFL quickly because this has certainly stirred the pot. So what happens is every year ESPN will talk to scouts and executives from all the other leagues. Of course, they do it anonymously so that, nobody gets their knickers in a twist, as they say across the pond. But it certainly brings up a heck of a lot of interesting discussion. So these are the top 10 quarterbacks as rated by other scouts and evaluators and executives in the league. At number 10 from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is Baker Mayfield. Last year was unranked, and at 30 years old, cracks the top 10. Number 9, last year's honorable mention, this year, Super Bowl champion Jalen Hurts, all the way down at number 9. A little surprising being that low. At number 8, Jared Goff, again experienced at age 30. Last year was number 9. This year moves up to number 8. At number 7, Justin Herbert. He had one ranking was as high as number 3. Last year was number 6 on the list. This year, number 7. Obviously very talented. They love that he can make all the throws. Hasn't really shown it, particularly in the playoffs. So a little surprising he's there ahead of Jalen Hurts. At number 6, more experience, Matthew Stafford at age 37. Last year was ranked number 5. This year slips to 6. There's a lot of talk whether or not he would even come back this year. But Matthew Stafford, league, I guess execs make sense like experience and knowing what you have. So I guess that makes sense. And then they blow that out of the water with number 5 because the least experienced guy on here, Jaden Daniels. Just coming off a phenomenal rookie season that saw him go to the NFC Championship game. Age 24, he is sitting at number 5 on this list, despite only playing 1 season in the league. Number 4 seems to be where the controversy lay, whether this player should be 4 or 3. At number 4, Lamar Jackson from the Baltimore Ravens, coming off a phenomenal season where he went head-to-head with Josh Allen for MVP. He was number 1 on some execs' list, number 6 on some, which seems criminally low. He settled in at number 4 just like last year. A little surprising in that he nearly won his 3rd MVP, and he sits at number 4. Number 3, Joe Burrow from the Cincinnati Bengals. Had a great late season push. Last year was ranked number 2. He was as high as 1 on some lists, low as 5. I'm a little surprised they had Burrow ahead of Lamar based on the year that they had last year, but who am I to question the executives of the league? At number 2, the reigning MVP, Josh Allen. I think this makes sense. Last year he was at number 3, moving up with the MVP season. I'm certainly fine with that because at number 1 for probably the 5th consecutive year, Patrick Mahomes, although he was as low as 4 on some lists this year. But Patrick Mahomes, it's loosening, but he still kind of holds the grip of that top spot of NFL quarterbacks. And I think that one makes sense. Again, I think Hurts is too low. I'd probably have him more around 6, maybe 5. I don't know if I'd have him below Daniels, but I would flip Lamar and Joe Burrow just based on last couple of years. That's me. Maybe they're factoring that Burrow's younger and he has a little more time with things, but I don't know. To me, I would go Lamar and then Burrow at 4, maybe Jalen Hurts at 5, and then Jaden Daniels. Best and worst of the weekend. I'll start with my worst. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. Amanda Anisimova getting just a phenomenal win over number 1 Sabalenka to reach the Wimbledon final and then gets blanked 6-0, 6-0. I hope that doesn't sour her on what was just a phenomenal run through Wimbledon, and I hope she's not remembered solely for getting goose-egged in the final there. But it was a rough one, but, still great couple of weeks in England. And then the best of the weekend, I can't believe I didn't talk about it more, as much of a fan as I am. WWE Evolution. The women's, it was an all-women's show. It was incredible. Great matches, surprises, legends coming back. It's on Peacock. If you have that, go back and watch it. It was fantastic. Catch Coach Hale tomorrow morning. We're out.
The Atlanta Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just wrecked that thing. Straight away center, a homer for Riley.
Sales, Strider, Acuna, Ozzie, Riley, Profar, and Coach Snitker lead a stellar lineup. Listen live.